Hello and welcome to the Como Widget Development webinar. Today, we will discuss developing a simple widget without a backend. The widget is available on GitHub, and you can find it by clicking the link in the description. Today, we are planning to define what widgets are and their role within the Como platform. We hope to help you understand the structure and specific requirements needed for a Como widget project. And we'll show you a birthday widget, which is available on our account in GitHub as an example. The first thing we should do is define what a widget in terms of Como is. A widget is a small, functional application or tool that can be integrated into the Como platform to extend its capabilities and enhance its functionality. Before you start working on a widget, there are several things you need to know and explore. We will look at each of them. The first one is the Como account. Register an account on Como to create an integration and upload a widget. You can use any type of account, trial/technical/company account, to upload and test your widget, but we recommend using a trial account for testing your integration. To develop for Como users, you should be an experienced user of Como. It takes some time to understand how the system works and how different objects interact with each other. If the only thing you know about Como is its name, we highly recommend spending some time exploring it. You should be familiar with VS Code or another code editor. Developers can use code editors to build, edit, and debug code, after which one can easily publish the app they are building. Some knowledge of CSS and HTML is expected, as a widget is the visual part of an integration. They are fundamental to web development, with HTML providing the basic framework and CSS adding styling elements. The script.js file is written in JavaScript. To develop a widget, you should have a good understanding of JavaScript. You must know JavaScript concepts such as variables, functions, objects, arrays, and DOM manipulation. Additionally, knowledge of event handling, asynchronous programming, and AJAX will be beneficial for creating interactive and dynamic widgets. jQuery is a JavaScript library designed to simplify HTML, DOM, tree traversal, and manipulation event handling, CSS animations, and AJAX. Make sure you're familiar with Twig. Twig is a templating engine designed for generating HTML. It is primarily used with PHP, but we use it in conjunction with JavaScript to generate HTML on the client side instead of on the server. In Como, a widget looks like an archive of files. Some of the files are mandatory, and others add functionality and design. Let's have a closer look at each component of the widget. Manifest.json is a widget's main file. It links localization files, images, and files with JS. A widget is represented as an object containing properties and methods that are useful to work with. When the system loads widgets, it adds the functionality described in script.js to the existing system widget object. This means that the custom widget object inherits properties and methods that will be helpful for further work. The JavaScript portion of the widget contains the required components and additional functions. It also includes callback functions that are triggered under specific conditions. With the script.js, you have a simple tool for interacting with the DOM and performing cross-domain requests. You can use it to create basic text widgets, generate information blocks from external data, or send data to external services. These changes will work immediately for all users of your account. Internalization is the folder where you add localization files. If you want your widget to be available in 3 languages, add 3 localization files. en.json, es.json, pt.json. Remember that they should have the same structure if you have more than one localization. Templates are twig files that you can use in your widget. You can use templates to create forms and buttons. Even if your widget isn't explicitly displayed anywhere except for the integration section, you must still upload the Images folder. The folder contains 5 logos of different sizes, but they can only be in one format, PNG. The CSS file contains styles for the widget. To ensure the widget does not clash with other system elements and widgets, its CSS file should contain unique class names for all main and child elements. When we were planning this tutorial, we wanted something that would show the interaction between different fields, including custom fields, use environment variables, let us add templates, show how to perform a click when a user clicks on place in the system, and give users different rights. So we decided on a birthday widget. The widget was made by the company Reuters. After you install the widget, you'll see the settings section. The first one is the birthday field. You can choose one of the existing fields or create a new one. The newly created field will have the type of birthday. You need to type the name and choose a profile to create the field. You can also choose the type of task and type in the text added to the task after creating a client's birthday. Then you can choose users responsible for sending wishes to clients and get those tasks going. Next, there is a section that allows you to create chat templates. Then we navigate to the lead profile and see the widget displayed on the right panel. If we click it now before we set the birthday for this lead, we'll see that none of the clients are celebrating a birthday today. If we set the birthday field to the current date, we get the task and can click the button Send a Birthday Wish on the right panel. Once we press the button, the list of templates will be open so you can choose a template from the template list. Let's have a look at each element of the birthday widget. We will begin with manifest.json. Here we see the widget name and description will be taken from localization files. Here you pass the version of your widget, but since you don't need to update a private widget, you can pass any version here. Interface_version should always be set to 2. The init_once method is responsible for widget initialization. If there is no common context for all the pages, you should pass false. Since the widget we work on isn't VoIP, we set init_once to false. Since we created a widget that can be seen when switching languages, we mentioned all the languages we support. EN stands for English, PT stands for Portuguese, ES stands for Spanish. We set installation to true as we have yet to set up our settings. Usually, we set installation to false if the settings are managed in another system that interacts with Como via API. Locations field defines the areas in which the widget will initialize. Settings widget, installation, and configuration page. Card 1, the widget will be displayed on the right side panel of a lead profile. See card 0, the widget will initialize in a contact profile but won't appear on the right side panel. We provide 3 images in every language for the widget slideshow. Widget.tor_description will be pulled from internalisation files. Since we have different input types, we create custom settings. All the fields will be pulled from internalisation files. We should add all the images the widget will use to the images folder. All of them serve different purposes. Logos are images that are displayed in the areas of widget initializations. All 5 should be added to the folder. Otherwise, you will get a system error message. Keep in mind that logo images should be in PNG format. Slideshow images are shown on the installation screen to show your integration in action. They aren't mandatory for private integration. If your widget supports different languages, you should provide slideshow images in all the languages. Other images in SVG format. They are supposed to enhance the widget interface by making it more intuitive. Every line and word in the widget should be translated into all the languages in which your widget will be used. The structure should be the same in all files. For the script.js file not to be too long, we divided some parts of it into classes. This way, it's easier to read, edit, and manage it. Just remember to import those classes at the beginning of the script.js file. What happens in the cache.js file? When a cache object is created, it checks to see if a cache object already exists in the Como widget property of the window object. If the cache object does not exist, an empty cache object is created. Next, let's have a look at cache methods. The getItem method retrieves a value from the cache based on a given key. It checks if the value for the key exists in the cache object in the Como widget. If it exists, it is returned. If the value is not in the cache, the method checks session storage. If the value is found in session storage and has not expired, it is retrieved and returned. If the value has expired, the value is removed from session storage. Otherwise, null is returned. The setItem method is used to set a value to the cache. If local is _true_, the value is stored directly in the cache object in the Como widget. Otherwise, the value is stored in session storage. In both cases, the value is serialized to JSON and stored along the expiration period value. The removeItem method removes a value from session storage based on a given key. The next one is the http.js file. The first thing we do is import cache.js. The request method makes an HTTP request. It accepts a request type, data to send payload, request method, and parameters, options. If the cache option is specified in the parameters, an attempt is made to retrieve data from the cache. If no data is in the cache, an AJAX request is executed. Next, we will examine the como.js file. The first step is to import http.js. The method getAccount obtains account information. The method getTasks retrieves tasks with the given filter. The method createTask sends a post request to the API v4 tasks endpoint, passing in the new task data in the body. The method createField sends a post request to the custom fields endpoint, passing the data of the next custom field. The method createTemplate sends a post request to the AJAX v1 chats templates add endpoint, passing the new template data in the request body. The method getTemplates sends a get request to the AJAX v4 chats templates endpoint. The method getUsers sends a get request to the API v4 users endpoint, pushing all users into a users array. The method getTaskTypes calls the getAccount method to get account information and then extract task types from the retrieved data. The method getFields sends a get request to the custom fields endpoint, collecting all the fields into a field array. The method getEmptyPromise is used in the next function. If there is nothing to return, it calls getEmptyPromise. The method getFieldsByType is used to get custom fields of specific types. It sends queries to retrieve fields for various entity types, contact leads, and returns an array of field objects that match the given criteria. Next, we will examine the events.js file. First, we import the library moment and module, lib/components/base/modal. The method settings process events such as clicking on the link to create a custom field for the widget and the template creation button. This method, getBirthdayInfo, retrieves birthday information from the current page. It checks if any contact or lead has a birthday today and returns the current date. The method card checks if today's date matches the birthday. If it does, and specific conditions are met, it calls a method to create a new task. If today is the birthday and no tasks have been created, this method createTask will create a new task using the birthday information and task parameters. This is the load.js file. The methods prepend and append add HTML loader content before and after the specified element. The method getHTML gets the HTML content from the loader. If the HTML has not yet been generated, the method will render the loader twig template. The methods hide, show, and remove access elements with the como-loader class and hide, show, or remove them. The method displaySaveButton displays a save button in a modal window with the specified code class. This is settings.js. The method save is used for saving widget settings. It handles the event and returns a promise. Inside the method, it checks the widget status, gathers data from the settings form, creates an object with information about the widget's state, and handles the case when the widget is installed. After processing, the method returns the data object upon successful saving. The method load is used for loading widget settings. It returns a promise and performs preliminary configuration of widget parameters, such as params.template. The classes/template.js used for rendering templates is a wrapper around the widget's own this.render methods. This is intended to simplify the code, but it doesn't mean you have to use this specific implementation. You can stick to the basics or create your solution. What is provided here is an example that can be improved. First, we import libraries jQuery, Twigs, JS, text, and a module, lib/components/base/modal. The method flushText plugin is used to temporarily change the settings for loading text files so that they are always loaded via XHR, a JS API, to create HTTP requests. The method restoreText plugin is used to restore the default settings for loading text files after a temporary change. The method checkRegistry is used to check the existence of a twig template. The method getFromRegistry is used to retrieve a twig template by its name. The method preload is used for preloading templates and CSS files. It returns a promise that resolves after all resources have been loaded. The method loadTemplates is used for loading templates. This method utilizes app.widgets.system.area to determine the current area within the application. It returns a promise that resolves after all templates have been loaded. The method addTemplate is used to add a template to Twig. If a template with the given name already exists in the registry, it is updated. Otherwise, a new template is created. The method loadCSS is used for loading CSS files. It returns a promise that resolves after all CSS files have been loaded. The method render is used for rendering a template by its name and passing parameters to it. The method install placeholder is used to install a placeholder in a specific location on the page, as the wrap div argument indicates. The exception argument can specify an element that should be excluded from the placeholder installation. The getter getTwig returns an object with methods for generating various user interface elements based on Twig templates from Como. Then, let's have a look at the plugins folder. There is just one file in this folder. This plugin is designed for serializing form data into JSON format. It allows converting user-entered form data into JSON. When you open the Assets folder, you will see two other folders, CSS and Templates. We have two CSS files in the folder, como.css and style.css. For several reasons, code organization, separating styles for different parts of the code, reusability, dependency, management, and page load optimization. Here we can see how the display of a tooltip when hovering over an image is implemented. There's a folder with templates. The loader.twig represents a loader block displayed on the page while content is loading or asynchronous operations are being performed. The widget right panel.twig showcases a widget in the right side panel. It takes two parameters, text, which will vary based on whether it is a person's birthday that day, and a button only displayed if there is a person's birthday. The base.twig displays the widget's basic settings. The modal.twig displays a settings modal window. We won't go through the whole script.js file, but will focus on some parts. We start by importing all the classes. A drop-down list is added where responsible users are added when a checkbox is clicked. Upon clicking the button, Send a Birthday Wish, a list of templates opens which can be sent to the chat. Be aware that the button works correctly if chats are already open. The functionality does not include switching to a chat from other states. That's it with the code. You need to create an integration to make your widget work with Como. Then upload your widget in zip format and add all the necessary languages. Before you upload the archive with the widget, please ensure all the files are at the root level of an archive. That's all we wanted to share for today. Thank you so much for joining us.